he never meant to walk in on her. One wrong turn in the massive penthouse and there she was, Eliza Blackwood, the cold-hearted billionaire who held his future in her hands, vulnerable and half-dressed. Their eyes locked in the mirror. His heart stopped. But instead of the fury he expected, her voice broke as she whispered, "Please don't tell anyone you saw me cry." Hey everyone! If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more emotional journeys that will tug at your heartstrings. Your support means everything. Marcus Reid clutched his cleaning cart tighter, wishing he could disappear through the polished marble floor of the penthouse bathroom. Of all the doors in the sprawling Blackwood Tower, he had to open this one, where Eliza Blackwood herself stood in a silk camisole, hastily wiping tears from her face. "I'm so sorry, Ms. Blackwood," he stammered, backing away. The concierge said the penthouse was empty for cleaning. "I didn't." "Stop." Her voice was softer than he'd ever heard it. In their brief encounters in the building's lobby, she'd always been the Ice Queen CEO, the woman whose financial empire graced magazine covers, whose cutting remarks in boardrooms were legendary. But now her mascara was smudged, her eyes red-rimmed. The tailored power suit she'd worn earlier hung half on a nearby hook, replaced by comfortable loungewear no paparazzi would ever capture. "You're the maintenance man, correct?" she asked, quickly composing herself. "Janitor," he corrected, then immediately regretted it. "I mean, I'm the night cleaning supervisor. For the building." She studied him with those penetrating green eyes. "You have a daughter. Emma, right? I've seen you bringing her to the staff daycare." Marcus was stunned she knew this detail. "Yes. She's 7. Eliza nodded, then did something completely unexpected. She sat down on the edge of her marble bathtub and gestured to the small vanity stool. "Please, sit. Just for a moment." Every instinct told Marcus to politely decline and flee. This woman owned the building. She could have him fired with a single text message. But something in her expression, a vulnerability he'd never imagined she possessed, made him carefully lower himself onto the stool. "I fired someone today," she said quietly. "A vice president who's been with the company 15 years. He has 3 children and a mortgage." Marcus remained silent, unsure why she was telling him this. "The board wanted him gone. Said his division wasn't performing." She twisted a diamond bracelet around her wrist. "I could have fought harder for him." "I'm sure you did what you had to do," Marcus offered cautiously. Her laugh was hollow. "That's what everyone says. Tough decisions at the top. But no one sees." She gestured vaguely to her tear-streaked face. "This." Marcus thought of his daughter Emma waiting at his mother's apartment. Of the 3 jobs he juggled to keep them afloat since his wife's death 2 years ago. Of how one decision from someone like Eliza Blackwood could change everything. "People like me," he said carefully, "were always one bad day away from disaster. One missed shift, one sick child, one car repair. But people like you have different problems," she finished, a hint of her usual sharpness returning. "No," he corrected. "Just different safety nets." Something shifted in her expression. "How long have you been a single father?" 2 years. Cancer took my wife." Her face softened. "I'm sorry. Emma keeps me going. She's everything." Eliza stood suddenly, wrapping a silk robe around herself. "I should let you get back to work. Please forget this incident." Marcus rose too, nodding. "Of course, Ms. Blackwood." As he reached for the door, her voice stopped him. "Mr. Reid? What would you do if you had all the money in the world, but no one to share it with?" The question hung in the air between them, between the billionaire and the janitor, 2 people who should never have had this conversation. "I'd find someone to share it with," he answered simply. Marcus didn't expect to see Eliza Blackwood again, except perhaps passing in the lobby. But the next evening, as he was finishing his shift, the concierge called him to the front desk. "Ms. Blackwood left this for you," the man said, sliding over a sealed envelope. Inside was a business card with a handwritten note, *breakfast tomorrow? 8 a.m. The Skyline Cafe across the street. I have a proposition for you, *. Marcus stared at the card, turning it over in his hands. What could Eliza Blackwood possibly want from him? Was this about yesterday's embarrassing encounter? Was she going to ask him to sign some kind of confidentiality agreement? He almost didn't go. But curiosity, and perhaps something else he couldn't name, pulled him to the cafe the next morning after dropping Emma at school. Eliza sat at a corner table, looking nothing like the disheveled woman he'd encountered in her bathroom. Today she was back to her public persona, tailored navy suit, hair pulled into a sleek chignon, typing rapidly on her phone. But when she looked up and saw him, something in her expression softened. "You came," she said, gesturing to the chair across from her. "I was curious," he admitted, sitting down cautiously. She set her phone face down on the table, a gesture that, from someone of her stature, felt significant. "I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday." "Ms. Blackwood." "Eliza, please." "Eliza," he corrected, the name feeling strange on his tongue. "About yesterday, I want to assure you I would never." "I'm not worried about that," she interrupted. "I'm a good judge of character. You're not the type to gossip about finding the ice queen in a moment of weakness." A waitress approached, and to Marcus's surprise, Eliza had already ordered for both of them, coffee and a full breakfast spread. "I hope you don't mind," she said. "I took the liberty." "It's fine," he said, though he rarely had time for a proper breakfast. "But I'm confused about why I'm here." Eliza folded her hands on the table. "I have a problem, Mr. Reid." "Marcus." She nodded. "Marcus. I have a problem that I think you might be uniquely qualified to help me with." He raised an eyebrow. "I'm a janitor." "You're a father," she corrected. "A good one, from what I've observed. And I need—" She paused, seeming to struggle with the words. "I need someone who understands children." For the first time, Marcus noticed the dark circles under her makeup, the tension in her shoulders. "My sister died 3 months ago," she continued, her voice controlled but tight. "Car accident. She left behind her daughter, my niece. Lily is 8 years old, and according to my sister's will, I am now her legal guardian." Understanding dawned on Marcus. "You're raising your niece." Eliza nodded, a flash of vulnerability crossing her face. "I've built $1 billion company from the ground up. I've negotiated deals that changed industries. But I have no idea how to be a parent to a grieving 8-year-old girl. And you think I can help with that? I'm offering you a job, Marcus. As Lily's nanny, tutor, caregiver, whatever title you prefer. The salary would be substantial, of course. Enough that you wouldn't need your other jobs." Marcus sat back, stunned. "I don't have any professional childcare experience." "You have life experience. And Emma and Lily are close in age. They could be friends." She leaned forward. "Lily hasn't spoken more than 10 words since the funeral. The therapist says she needs stability, routine, someone who understands grief from a child's perspective." "Like Emma," Marcus said quietly. "Like both of you," Eliza corrected. Marcus took a sip of his coffee, mind racing. "I can't just leave my jobs. I have responsibilities. I've already spoken to building management. They're prepared to hold your position if you want to return. And the salary I'm offering would more than compensate for your other work. You did this before even speaking to me?" A hint of the businesswoman emerged in her smile. "I like to be prepared." Marcus studied her. Yesterday's vulnerable woman and today's confident CEO seemed like different people, but perhaps they weren't. Perhaps Eliza Blackwood was just as complex as anyone else, just with more resources at her disposal. "Why me?" he asked finally. "You could hire the most qualified nanny in the city." "Because you saw me," she said simply. "At my worst moment. And you didn't judge. You understood." She paused. "And because Lily needs someone who knows what she's going through. Someone who's walked that path." The waitress returned with their food, giving Marcus a moment to think. The offer was tempting. Financially, it would change everything for him and Emma. But working for Eliza Blackwood? Living in her world? "I'd need to meet Lily first," he said finally. "And you'd need to meet Emma. If they don't get along, this won't work." Relief flooded Eliza's face. "Of course. Would this weekend work? I could arrange something at my penthouse, or somewhere more neutral if you prefer." "The Children's Museum," Marcus suggested. "Saturday morning. It's Emma's favorite place." Eliza nodded, looking slightly out of her element at the mention of a children's museum. "I'll make it happen." As they finished breakfast, Marcus couldn't help but wonder if he was making a huge mistake. But something told him this unexpected collision of their worlds might be exactly what both families needed. The Children's Museum was crowded with weekend visitors, but Eliza had somehow arranged a private tour before opening hours. Marcus watched as Emma, initially shy, gradually warmed up to the quiet, solemn-faced Lily. "My mom died too," Emma said with the directness only children possess, as they built structures in the engineering exhibit. Lily looked up, her first sign of real interest. "Did it hurt?" "Not me. But I think it hurt her. And it hurt my dad." Emma glanced over at Marcus, who pretended not to be listening. "But we're okay now." "Mostly." Lily nodded, absorbing this. "My mom was singing in the car. Then there was a crash. Then she was gone." Emma reached out and took Lily's hand. "Want to see the water table? You can make boats." As the girls moved to the next exhibit, Marcus found Eliza beside him, looking elegant yet out of place in her casual designer clothes. "She's talking," Eliza said quietly. "That's the most she's said since it happened." Marcus nodded. "Kids understand each other in ways adults can't. Does this mean you'll take the job?" He watched the girls for another moment. There would need to be boundaries. Clear expectations. "Of course. And I'd want to maintain some independence. My own apartment, not living in your penthouse." Eliza considered this. "I have a guest apartment on the floor below mine. It has its own entrance but connects to the penthouse via a private elevator. Would that work?" Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You really do think of everything." "It's how I built my company." She hesitated. "And lost most of my personal relationships along the way." The honesty in her statement surprised him. "All right," he said finally. "We'll try it. For 1 month. If it's not working for any of us, you, me, or the girls, we walk away, no hard feelings." Eliza extended her hand. "Deal." As they shook on it, Marcus couldn't help but wonder what he was getting himself and Emma into. But watching his daughter gently showing Lily how to make a paper boat float, he felt something he hadn't experienced in a long time: hope. The transition wasn't easy. Moving from their small apartment to the luxury building was a culture shock for both Marcus and Emma. The first week, Emma kept asking when they were going home. Lily remained withdrawn, though she seemed to respond to Emma's cheerful presence. Eliza was often absent, working long hours, coming home after Lily was asleep. "This isn't working," Marcus confronted her one evening when she returned at nearly midnight. "Lily needs you, not just me." Eliza's expression hardened. "I'm providing for her. Giving her opportunities my sister never could. She doesn't need opportunities. She needs her aunt. I don't know how to be what she needs." Eliza's composure cracked. I never wanted children. I never planned for this. My sister was the warm one, the natural mother. I was always the cold, ambitious one. Then why did she choose you as guardian? The question hung in the air between them. Because there was no one else, Eliza said finally, her voice small. Marcus shook his head. I don't believe that. She chose you because she knew, beneath everything, you would love Lily fiercely. That you would protect her. That you would try. Trying isn't enough. It's everything, Marcus insisted. After my wife died, I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't most days. But I try. Every single day, I try. Eliza sank onto the sofa, looking more exhausted than he'd ever seen her. What if I fail her? You will, Marcus said bluntly. We all fail our children sometimes. But then we wake up the next day and try again. She looked up at him, vulnerability and determination warring in her expression. Show me how. The next day, Eliza cleared her schedule. She appeared at breakfast in jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. I thought we could go to the park today, she told a surprised Lily. All of us. It became a turning point. Eliza began coming home earlier, scheduling Lily time with the same precision she applied to business meetings. She was awkward at first, reading bedtime stories like they were quarterly reports, approaching playground visits with strategic planning. But gradually, something shifted. Marcus watched as the formidable businesswoman learned to build blanket forts and bake cookies. He saw Lily begin to open up, to trust, to even laugh occasionally. And he noticed something else too, the way Eliza's eyes lingered on him sometimes, the way his heart raced when they accidentally touched, the late-night conversations that stretched longer than necessary. You're changing her, Emma observed one night as he tucked her in. Who? Ms. Eliza. She used to look sad all the time. Now she smiles. Marcus kissed his daughter's forehead. I think you and Lily are changing her. Emma gave him a knowing look beyond her years. It's you too, Daddy. 3 months into their arrangement, far beyond the initial 1-month trial, disaster struck. Emma came down with pneumonia, landing in the hospital with a dangerously high fever. Marcus was frantic, keeping vigil by her bedside, forgetting to call Eliza until hours after they'd been admitted. To his shock, she arrived within 20 minutes of his call, Lily in tow, carrying food, changes of clothes, and Emma's favorite stuffed animal from their apartment. I've arranged for the best pediatric specialist in the city, she said, taking charge in the way only Eliza Blackwood could. And I've cleared my schedule for the week. You don't have to. We're family now, she cut him off, her tone brooking no argument. This is what family does. The word family hung between them, loaded with meaning neither was ready to fully acknowledge. For 3 days, they took shifts at Emma's bedside. Eliza worked remotely from the hospital room, her usual commanding presence softened as she read stories to both girls, helped the nurses make Emma comfortable, and made sure Marcus ate and rested. On the 3rd night, with Emma's fever finally breaking and Lily asleep on a cot in the corner, Marcus found himself alone with Eliza in the dim hospital room. Thank you, he said quietly. For everything. She shook her head. Don't thank me. This is. She struggled for words. This feels right. Being here. All of us together. Even in a hospital. Even here. She met his eyes. I've been thinking about what you said that first night. About finding someone to share it all with. Marcus's heart raced. Eliza. I'm not good at this, she interrupted. Feelings. Vulnerability.